In this video, I'm going to explain how to add three-digit numbers using place value blocks. There are three examples I'm going to show you. The first one is when you're adding and you do not need to compose a 10 or 100, so you don't need to regroup at all. So the first thing we need to do is I like to draw a chart so I can keep track of my hundreds, tens, and ones so they don't get all mixed up. It makes it easier to count. And less mistakes are made that way. So if we're looking at 341, I have 3 in the hundreds place, so I'm going to draw 3 hundreds. There are 4 tens and 1 1. So I have 341. Now I'm adding 237. So I'm going to draw 2 hundreds, 3 tens, and 7 ones. Now that I have drawn both add-ins, I am going to count what I have. I like to count my ones first, just in case I do need to compose a 10 or 100. It makes it so I don't have to go back and recount anything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 ones. And let's count my tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So 500 plus 70 plus 8 is 578. When I'm counting, you'll notice that I write my counting down. That is so I don't lose track and so I don't accidentally forget to count something. Next example is when you need to compose a 10 or regroup. So I'm going to start with my model. Keep those hundreds, tens, and ones organized. So 344 has 3 hundreds, 4 tens, and 4 ones. 238 has 2 hundreds, 3 tens, and 8 ones. Just like before, I'm going to start by counting my ones first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 2 more ones, but I'm not going to count those yet. Right now, I'm going to regroup or compose a 10. These 10 ones I can stack up and make a 10 with. It is very important when you do this step that you have 10 ones inside the circle and that you make a 10 to replace those 10 ones that you have stacked. Now I can count the rest of it. After I've done that, I have 1, 2 ones left. Now I can count my tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And count my hundreds. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. 500 plus 80 plus 2 is 582. A lot of mistakes students make are forgetting to count that 10 that they composed. They often do this when they count their hundreds first and then count their tens and then count their ones, because they would have counted their tens as 70 and forgotten to go back and count that extra 10 that they had composed. So that's why I suggest counting your ones first and then your tens and then your hundreds. The next example is if you need to compose 100. We're going to start off the same way. Hundreds, tens, ones. 344 has 3 hundreds, 4 tens, and 4 ones. 285 has 2 hundreds, 8 tens, and 5 ones. So I'm going to start counting my ones first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 ones. Now I'm going to count my tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. There are more tens, but I'm going to hold off on counting those because I've got to 100, which means I can compose a 100. So I'm going to circle those 10 tens, cross it out so I don't count it again, and draw a 100. We're combining those 10 tens to make a 100. Okay. And then I can count the tens that are left. 10, 20. So I have 20. And now I can count my hundreds. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. 600 plus 20 plus 9 is 629. With this example, I'm going to show you what happens when you need to compose a 10 and a 100 in the same equation. So we have 344 plus 258. Always drawing my hundreds, tens, and ones frame so I don't lose track. 344 has 3 hundreds, 4 tens, and 4 ones. 258. So we have 2 hundreds, 5 tens, and 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to start by counting my ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to stop right there because I got 10. When I get 10 in the ones place, I know that I need to compose a 10. Then I can count the rest of my ones. 1, 2. So after I compose my 10, I'm left with 2 ones in the ones place. Now I'm going to count my tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I got to 100 in the tens place. I have 10 tens, so I'm going to circle those 10 tens and compose a 100. I'll draw 100. In this case, I have no tens left, so I'm going to put a 0 here so I remember that I have no tens left after I composed my 100. Now I can count my hundreds. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. 600 plus 0 plus 2 is 602.